the fact that you're willing to acknowledge the desire to be right, and then to put that aside because you prefer relating and or love over being right. It's a bit of a rare choice.
I hear you. It's so much easier said than done, though.
Yeah, right.
In the moment,
Yeah.
in the moment, it's like that nasty part comes out, and I don't like to see it in myself. I'm sure nobody else does either.
Yep.
I will definitely implement this.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a moment, because it's so true. We've got our patterns, and what we're looking at, in fact, the whole game, one of the biggest games I'm playing in life is to spot the pattern and try and make a different choice. I think that's the personal growth game, the personal awareness. Hello, Bubba. I was with someone who teaches this. We were co-leading a course for prison inmates, and no, this was for prison staff. And one of the staff came up during a break and was quite upset with her and said, "You shouldn't have done that with this guy. That was rude. That was totally inappropriate, the way you handled that." And her first response was to explain why. She had wonderful reasons. So she started to justify herself. And Byron Katie says, defense is the first act of war. And I was next to her, and I leaned over and I just whispered one word in her ear: Aikido.
How do you spell that?
It's AIKIDO.
Thank you.
And it comes from the martial art, Aikido, which is about using the opponent's force against them. So it's not quite accurate in this case. We're kind of using the opponent's force and rolling with it.
Gotcha.
So if someone attacks you, you might flip them, or you might fall to the ground and roll with them instead of pushing back. That's why we call it emotional Aikido. So I whispered Aikido, and she stopped instantly midstream, took a breath, and said, "Tell me more about that." And she said later, "I wish I could have you sitting on my shoulder throughout my entire life." And I said, "Yeah, couldn't we all use that?" So it's hard to catch. Now, when we're learning something new, the way it tends to work, in my experience, is I'm going to miss it the first few times. I'm going to forget. And I might realize it later on once I've stormed out of the room, right? Or we've had a fight. And then I'll be like, that was an Aikido moment. And so maybe I go back and say, "Can I have a do-over? I didn't catch it in the moment. I wasn't listening. I'd like a do-over now." Then as we get a bit better and a bit quicker, we might be midstream in an argument, and then we realize, oh, I'm defending. I'm attacking. I'm justifying. Aikido. Let me stop here. I'm sorry. I realized I'm attacking you. I'm defending myself. I'd like to try listening instead. Would you tell me more? Right? And then ultimately, and I don't always get there myself. I think I often miss it. We might catch it right in the moment. Someone's coming at us. All right. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about your world. That seems to be the progression for any new habit.
Thank you.
This same person sent me a text, and the text said, "We need to talk. I'm really pissed at you." Classic mistake, right? And I got defensive straight away. My initial reaction was, "No, you need to talk. I don't need to talk at all." But I was wise enough to leave it for an hour. And then I realized, all right, this might be tough for her. She's going through a tough time. This is probably uncomfortable for her. And I'm doing great. I've got surplus, so I can listen. And so I called her up and I said, "Hey, baby." And we're just good friends. I said, "Hey, baby, how can I make your life better today?" And we had a great chat, and she told me all about it. And once I heard everything, I could see why she'd be upset and be like, what it was a misunderstanding. I could see why she'd be upset, but I'd done nothing wrong at all. Um, so we just got to talk it out, and it was fine. Had I responded with, no, you need to talk, right? I'm now escalating it. I'm now, that's the first act of war.